What's going on?
What?
That boy, the one who just went out.
Paul?
What on earth is he doing here?
Oh, he's our gardener. Paul Clark. Do you know him?
I don't know what he's playing at, but you just went halfway around the world to find him. That's Paul Shepherd.
He shouldn't be disturbed in here. He must have been put up to it.
Oh, I doubt it. The boy's a loner. I'd say it was his own idea.
Well, what does he expect to get out of it, then?
Observing you, I'd say. Hope you've been on your best behavior.
I've just fired him.
Oh, talk about timing.
Oh, sorry. Didn't know anyone was in here. Wanted to clean up.
Oh, you can do that later. Rosie, you hired Paul, didn't you?
Yes.
How did it happen?
Well, he turned up for an interview. I talked to him and I hired him.
Yes, but how did he know about the job?
I just stuck an ad in the local paper. Why?
It doesn't matter, thank you. I can't see a boy just back from America reading the local paper. I'd say he came here to see me, got stuck in the middle of one of Rosie's interviews and just went with it.
He could have seen you in America. He knew you were there.
Ah, he didn't know who I was then, or about the will. Has he been in touch with the lawyers?
No, they'd have been on to me like a shot.
Then he must have a contact here. Somebody's filled him in.
Fiona.
Yes, could be. Or anyone else at the will reading. Has she ever given you any indication that she might know him?
No.
I doubt if James would have introduced them.
Well, if it is her, he wouldn't have a very rosy picture of you.
Just have to make sure he gets one then, won't we? Doesn't know you've seen him. As far as he's concerned, I still think he's Paul Clark.
What do you intend to do?
Same thing I intended doing in America. Get him on side. Weren't exactly the tidiest bunch, were they?
As long as I had a good time.
Yes, I suppose so. I'm very sorry about the way I reacted earlier. I'm very protective towards Angela, and I like Rob very much. I'd hate to see either of them hurt.
It's okay. I'll be gone before they get back.
I'd like you to stay. I think I was being a bit hysterical. I've been under a lot of pressure with the wedding. So has Angela. I think that had a lot to do with her confusion. So if you still want to, I'd like you to stay. Well, think about it and let me know in the morning. I'll pick the ticket up at the airport.
Fine. That's flight 17 at midday for Melbourne, and the name's Armstrong.
That's right. And an open dated return, please.
The ticket will be waiting for you. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Be careful driving home. And for those of you heading towards the southeast, I'd give Brunton Avenue a miss. It's 5:45, and here's a little mellow
Dad?
music for those of you who are
It's cold out there. Hope your mum's drugged up well.
She's in hospital, Dad. I had a bad line when I was talking to Mrs. Hamilton. I don't think she got the message right.
What's wrong with her?
She lost the baby.
Thanks, Susie. I'll let everyone know. Mum's lost the baby.
Oh, John, I am sorry.
Bad luck.
I'd better go tell Nan and Pop.
If they want to go straight back, we'll understand.
I'll try and talk them into holding off till tomorrow. See how I go.
Bit stupid having kids at their age anyway.
Oh, for God's sake.
I don't even know her. Why should I care about someone I don't know?
She had the good grace to inquire after you when you had your accident.
People always do that sort of thing. I'm just more honest. Anyway, you're being a bit of a hypocrite, aren't you? Heard you bitching to Charlie often enough about her. Let's face it, Mother. You can give a damn what happened to Beryl Palmer.
Mrs. Hamilton.
Yes, come in, Paul.
I've been thinking about what you said. I didn't see the point in waiting till tomorrow. I'll stay on. See how it goes when Angela gets back.
Oh, good.
Well, good night then.
Would you like to join me for a nightcap?
Oh, yes, thank you. Well, brandy will be fine.
You've done such a good job today. It's the least I can do to say thank you. I hope this toast in the morning isn't going to become habit. Since Rosie arrived, it's been happening more and more. She knows I like croissants.
The Keegans had the croissants before they headed off.
You know, I think we ought to give some thought to pensioning Rosie off.
I promised her a home.
Well, she's not getting any younger, and we really don't need her.
I don't care whether we need her or not. For someone we don't need, she's kept on her toes most of the time.
Her attitude to me is getting me down.
You put up with it for 20 years. I can't see it getting any worse.
It's getting worse since Barbara arrived on the scene. But don't give me that look, it's the truth. Before it was only Nancy I'd replaced, now it's Nancy and Barbara.
Don't be so ridiculous.
Gordon, it's very difficult for me to try and make our marriage work with her around. Oh, she's subtle. She thought it was wonderful when you danced with Barbara yesterday.
I want to read the paper. If there's a problem, it'll sort itself out now with Barbara going to Melbourne. Or else you'll soon forget her. You know I could never get rid of her. So why suggest it?
Rosie, have you seen Gordon? I said, have you seen Gordon?
Saw him heading off about 20 minutes ago. There's something under his collar.
What?
He had something under his... Ah,
And what was it?
I don't know. It's none of my business.
Oh, that makes a change.
Al Mason.
It's Patricia. I've talked him into staying.
Good. What's your next step?
I'm going to take it slowly. He's an intelligent boy. I don't want him suspecting.
I'm keen to get it sorted out as quickly as possible. If he's going to accept his responsibilities with the company, the sooner we get him working, the better. Patricia?
I'm sorry. I just noticed something was missing, that's all.
I'd like you to have it.
You can't.
I want to. Saying goodbye at the wedding yesterday, I don't know, it somehow felt all wrong. I wanted to. I suppose I want to give you something to remember me by. But I'll understand if you don't take it.
No, I would like it. Thank you.
Typical male. Want to have my cake and eat it too.
What do you mean?
I have to try and make it work with Patricia, but I do love you. Now, I'm not saying I want an affair. We both feel the same way about that sort of thing, but if you're going away, I just wanted you to know.
I do. It's a lovely thought. Thank you.
Well, goodbye. Look after yourself.
Who am I going to be to golf now? Go on. I'm a bit too old to cry in public. Gordon? I'll treasure it.
did a pretty lousy job of cleaning up.
Must have blown there.
Any excuse. Do it again, and this time do it properly.
Darling, can I see you for a minute, please? There's something you should know about Paul. Let's go inside.
How the hell was I supposed to know?
For goodness sake, keep your voice down.
Why didn't you say something last night?
I wasn't going to say anything at all, but after that little exhibition, I thought it was wise. Hal and I want to keep him on side. Do you know he could be in a position to fire you any time? So keep that shut. Have you any idea what happened to that photograph of Wombai?
Didn't even know it was gone. How the hell did he get the job here?
I'd rather not talk about it. Hal will fill you in. Whatever happened to it, good riddance.
You can go in now, Mr. Palmer. Doctor doesn't want her upset, so take it quietly. If she does get agitated, we prefer you didn't stay.
Thank you. Oh, what's that? Now, it feels crazy being scared about going in to see her.
You'll be right.
Hello, love. Bought you some flowers.
Why did you take so long to get here?
I was here last night. No, they wouldn't let me stay. I had some trouble with the traffic this morning.
I don't mean this morning.
When Susie rang, she got a bad line. I didn't know you were in hospital.
Did you know I was sick?
I didn't know how sick. I didn't know it had anything to do with the baby. Oh, I'm sorry, love. I wanted that baby just as much as you.
Never really wanted it from the start.
I just said
You were the one who wanted me to get rid of it.
Oh, come on.
You said we could get rid of it.
I was worried about you. Oh, I got here as fast as I could. I couldn't let Angie down.
Gordon could have given Angela away. If you'd have come when you first heard, I might still have my baby.
I didn't know how urgent it was.
What did you think then? Beryl stacking on a turn trying to spoil Angela's wedding. Is that what you thought?
Oh, come on, don't be stupid.
Well, what did you think?
Well, I don't know. I knew you were sick. I didn't know how bad, that's all.
You should have known I wouldn't muck up Angela's day if it hadn't been bad. You wanted to stay there, so you put Angela and Patricia over our baby.
Oh, if I'd known.
For 20 years, I've been there when you needed me, even when you were having an affair behind my back. I've only ever really needed you once in all that time, and you chose Patricia over me. Would you please leave?
You've got to understand.
Just get out, David. I want you to get out, and I don't want you to come back.
Come on, stop dragging your feet.
Oh, you would too if you had to wear Dad's gumboots.
Yeah, I'm lucky your mum's are the right size.
Quick enough for you?
You're so clever, ain't you?
Which way's the house?
I thought you knew.
What?
Oh, well, we should have left a trail of breadcrumbs.
Hey?
Hansel and Gretel, didn't you ever read that book when you were a kid?
Nah, wasn't very big on reading. We'll have to start thinking about having some kids of our own.
What's the rush?
Oh, my folks were getting on a bit when I came along.
Bit of an afterthought.
Or a mistake, who knows? Well, I'm not knocking them, they were great parents, but... Well, like I said, I wasn't the type of kid who sat around with his nose in a book. So I was a bit much for him to handle at times. Wouldn't want that to happen to us.
We're not over the hill yet. All I meant was, let's give ourselves a breather.
That's fine, but, well, we're starting a bit ahead of scratch, you know. We've got land. Won't be long before we've got money to start building. Let's not have too much of an age gap between us and our kids, eh?
Fine. Come on, why don't you go ahead and see if you can find the way to the house?
Okay. How's it going out there, Angie?
Pies in the oven.
I'm going to have to put a lock on the oven and fridge if you won't stay out of the kitchen. And what happened to Jaffles? I was fixing dinner.
Tomorrow night, huh?
You stop fidgeting for 5 minutes? I'd like to talk. How do you feel about a girl? If our first kid was a girl?
Come on, Rob. Who wants to talk about kids on their honeymoon?
Thought you couldn't wait to start a family. I mean, how many times have you said...
I know what I said, but we must have got our wires crossed.
I didn't mean we should rush into things. I wouldn't be rushing. By the time our baby's old enough to walk, we'd have a big house and more backyard than you could poke a stick at. I meant us. We've got to be ready. How could we be more ready? We love each other. We can afford it. And I wouldn't mind betting if we got stuck on how to raise the kid, Rosie, you'd have all the answers. That's not what I mean. What do you mean? I can't explain. Try me. Would you just drop it? You couldn't possibly understand. Oh, don't be stupid. You know you want kids. Will you just drop it, Rob? Not if you won't tell me what's wrong. I'll tell you what's wrong. I made a huge mistake marrying you, and having kids would only make it worse. Hey, G. Angie! I'm gonna be crazy! Oh, David, I've made such a mess of things.
I often go in on a weekend. It's the only way to keep up. Bit rough. I really enjoy it. Especially when you're working for such a great company. You do right by them, and they'll do right by you.
Oh, you're not still talking about business, are you? I'm sure Paul's not the least bit interested.
Rosie didn't mind, did she, inviting another one for dinner?
She always cooks more than she needs to anyway.
Do you play chess?
Yes. A very old friend taught me. Oh, I was hopeless at first, but he was very patient. He was more like a father to me, really. Do you play?
Yes. My grandfather taught me.
We don't know anything about your family. Perhaps you can tell us something over dinner.
Not much to tell.
At least you can show me how well your grandfather taught you to play chess.
All right. Love to.
You and Rob had an argument.
Sort of. It was about having children.
It's a bit early in the piece to be arguing about that.
I know, but Rob wants me to get pregnant straight away.
And you don't want to?
No.
I thought you loved kids.
I do. It's just... I do care about Rob. I mean, I just don't know if I love him as much as I should. Well, that doesn't really explain what I mean.
I'm not too good at explaining things myself, love. Take your time.
The thing is, if I have made a mistake, I don't want to make it any worse by having children. I sound so stupid. I just don't know if I love him as much as you should to get married.
I know what it's like. Yeah, me and Beryl was pretty much like that at first. I mean, there'd been Pat.
You loved her a lot, didn't you?
Don't get me wrong, I loved Beryl too, but it wasn't the same as with Pat. Well, Beryl didn't know, at least I hope not. It took a while, but it happened though. I love her now, I really do love her. You'll go through the same thing, I suppose.
Thanks. Caring a lot about a person's a pretty good start, isn't it?
Yeah, I reckon so. What?
Oh, I was just thinking over what you said about Beryl. People are funny, aren't they? Not letting the ones they love in on the most important things. Well, I bet you've never told Beryl all that, and she'd love to hear it. Is she in bed?
Oh, she's not feeling too bright. She's over at Susie's place. They can look after her properly there.
Oh, is she very sick?
Oh, no, she'll be all right.
Oh, I'll pop across tomorrow and see her.
Well, I don't think she's up to visitors.
Is she really that bad?
Just needs a bit of peace and quiet, I think. You shouldn't be thinking of going over there tomorrow. You should be heading back to Rob.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I've been so selfish. Barging in on you when Beryl's not well, you've got enough on your plate.
I'm your dad, aren't I?
I just couldn't think of anyone else to talk to. Can I stay the night?
Did you tell Rob where you were going? I think he might be on to you. Hello?
David, listen, Angie shot through on me. Have you sighted her at all?
Yeah, she's here. Now, everything's okay. Don't get yourself in a knot.
Well, like hell. I want to find out what it's all about. Put her on.
Hang on a tick. Wants to talk to you. He's pretty worried.
I couldn't, not yet. I've got to have time to think it over. That was the problem up there. I couldn't.
Listen, Cobber, she's okay. She doesn't want to talk to you just now.
I don't even know what I did wrong.
You didn't do anything wrong. She's just a bit upset. Well, you know what women are like. She's just the strain of the wedding and everything.
Well, I've got to sort it out with her.
She'll phone you tomorrow. Now, until then, just hold your horses.
I don't understand it, Dave. It's a bit of a kick in the guts when your wife walks out on you on your honeymoon.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose.
That was a very silly move. You've left yourself wide open.
I see. You play a hard game, Mrs. Hamilton.
Oh, I'm naturally competitive. I don't like to be beaten at anything.
Well, I think I'm in trouble then. Checkmate.
Your game.
You did win the first one.
I think I'll quit while we're even.
Just as well. It's getting late. Well, thanks for a terrific evening. I really enjoyed myself.
Sound as if you didn't expect to.
Well, to be honest, after the business with Angela...
Oh, I'm sure that was never really a serious problem. I just overreacted. We've got it all sorted out now anyway. I have to go into the city early in the morning. I wonder if you'd mind driving me. Hate all that peak hour traffic.
Sure. Well, thanks again for a lovely evening.
We'll have a deciding game sometime. Night-night, Paul.
Good night. Night, Wayne.
Night. You handle him very well.
Which is more than I can say for you. He's not a fool. If you start fawning all over him, he's going to realize that we know.
I wasn't fawning.
Oh, you were. The way you kept harping on about work and that ridiculous display you made of keeping hard at it while we were playing chess.
No harm done.
No thanks to you. In future, just be pleasant but casual with him, all right? He needs very careful handling.
Like the way you handled the business with Angie?
What do you know about that?
Just what I heard. She was leaving.
Just happened to overhear, did you?
What went on between him and Angela? I might put my foot in it if I don't know, mightn't I?
You'd be even more stupid than I think you are if you talk to him about Angela.
Why should it bother him? Unless he's keen on her. So that's it. He got interested and wanted to horn in on Rob, right?
There was never any question of him wanting to cause trouble. It was more Angela.
She was interested in him, too.
I don't know how serious it could have got. It all happened too quickly.
Love at first sight, eh?
Something like that.
And you let her marry Rob when she could have had James Shepherd's grandson. That's beautiful, Mother. Really beautiful.
All right. Thought it might have been you. Come in.
Sorry, Dave. Couldn't leave it till tomorrow. I have to talk to her.
Turn the light off. Oh, you're better off leaving it until she has a good sleep.
I was sitting up there going crazy. I don't even know why she shot through.
Well, your dad's here. There's no use waking him up.
What's he doing here?
No, it's a long story. Listen, just drop on the sofa for the night.
You did a good job of waking up the neighborhood.
I've got to talk to you.
I'll leave you to it.
I'm glad you came up. I've acted like a kid, I'm sorry.
Why?
Nerves, getting used to it all. Talking about kids so soon, I don't know.
I've always been a bit pushy about kids and all.
I should have stayed and talked it through.
It saved me getting an ulcer.
I'll be a good wife, I promise.
The meeting could take some time. Would you like to come inside and wait?
Oh, no, I'll sit in the car and read the paper.
Whatever you like.
morning, Mrs. Hamilton.
Morning.
The meeting shouldn't be long getting underway. Can I get you a cup of coffee?
No, thank you.
I'll just see if Mr. Mason wants me to do anything before the meeting starts. I'll let you know as soon as they're ready.
Thank you.
Never stops, does it? You're conniving.
I'm really not in the mood for you this morning.
I can well imagine what you did about that phone call from Susan, not letting David know it was urgent.
Why would I bother doing that?
You saw it as a chance to make trouble between David and Beryl.
Is there trouble between them? Upset with him, is she? Not the forgiving little wife anymore.
Losing the baby will only bring them closer together.
I'm really not interested in that or anything else you have to say.
They're ready now.
Thank you. After you.
Oh, Deanna, meeting over?
Oh, what a bore. I never did claim to have a business head.
I don't want Mrs. Hamilton to see her talking to me.
She's having a drink with Hal. I made an excuse. What happened after the wedding? I thought you were in strife with her.
So did I. Sorted it out, though.
Can you come around tonight? I would like to hear about it.
If I don't get asked to play chess again.
What?
I'll be there.
Good. We've got a lot to talk about. Why do you think Patricia changed her mind after firing you?
Well, she said it was all the pressure of the wedding. I think she's trying to be fair.
Or she's keeping you on to get back at you in some way. For causing problems. You don't know her like I do.
No one would do that sort of thing.
I didn't say too much to you straight off. I wanted you to draw your own conclusions.
And that's what I've been doing.
Well, surely you've had time to get some bad impressions.
I've seen her organize a large wedding under a lot of pressure. Anyone would be snappy under those circumstances.
That's making excuses for her.
Last night I started to get to know her personally. She was very pleasant to me.
You don't think she suspects who you are?
How could she? I think once the strain of the wedding was over, she relaxed. Simple as that. Well, Granddad must have liked her. Otherwise, he wouldn't have left her so much.
Your grandfather was in love with her.
And he was pretty cluey.
Even the cleverest men can be fools where a woman is concerned.
You told me to make up my own mind. So far, I'm not getting the same picture as you're giving me.
Just be careful of her. I wish you'd got to know the Palmers better while they were here. They're really nice people.
Or maybe I'll get a chance to meet them again later on.
I hope so. Because of Patricia, they're having their problems too. I better go and see how the dinner's going.
Thought I was absolutely mad, so he went ahead and planted them upside down.
I can't have known too much about gardening.
Well, he was a nice enough chap. That's the main reason we kept him on. I must say, the garden's looking a lot better since you've arrived.
Oh, thanks very much.
Well, praise where it's due.
Well, good night.
Night, Paul. See? Simple, subtle.
Still be interesting to know what he's playing at, though. Reckon Fiona might have put him up to it?
No. To my knowledge, she doesn't even know him. And even if she had managed to get him on side, she'd have been blackmarking me from the start. There's no way she'd allow him to make up his own mind about me.
They're chatting like two old friends at the wedding. Didn't look as though they'd just met.
They were sitting next to each other. You know what she's like with young men.
It's a bit of a laugh, isn't it? You thought you were putting her next to the common old gardener.
See, I can't see Paul staying here very long once Angela arrives back. Somehow, I've got to get him to relax enough before then to admit to me who he really is. And if he does admit it to me, then I'll know that he trusts me. Al Mason told me that he's not too keen on taking up a directorship at Ramberg, but I can work on that once I know that he trusts me. Oh, for heaven's sake, turn the damn thing off.
I was watching that.
You're bug-eyed. I need some peace and quiet.
What for?
You haven't heard a word I've said, have you?
Was it worth hearing?
I was thinking aloud.
Wouldn't have been worth hearing.
Look, if you want to watch it, take it to bed.
I'm not that desperate.
Evening.
Hi, Rosie. How's your sister?
Oh, as well as can be expected. Want anything?
Not for me, thanks.
No, nothing for me, thank you, Rosie. Why don't you have an early night?
Oh, thanks, I will.
Would you like to take the television?
No, thanks. Night.
Hi, Rosie.
Night.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing. Not a thing. I just had an idea. Paul, I have to go into town again this morning. I wonder if you'd mind driving me.
Right, Mrs. Hamilton.
You can spend the rest of the day in the garden if you like.
Whatever you say.
Unless, of course, you think there's something more important around the place, then by all means do it.
Just how you like them. Now, don't leave them now.
Thanks, Rosie.
Wayne, you haven't forgotten your promise to Rosie, have you? The little runabout you were going to get for her to make it easier for her to see her sister?
No, I hadn't forgotten. I just haven't had time to take it a look, that's all.
Well, then I think it's time something was done about it. Paul, how about instead of taking me into the city, you drive Rosie around some car yards? That is, if you think you know enough about cars.
Oh, as much as most people, I think.
Good. Wayne, why don't you give Paul a blank cheque, save any bother?
Couldn't it wait a day?
Oh, why, when it's just as easy now?
I suppose.
I think we can trust you not to break the bank, Rosie.
Of course you can.
Rosie isn't exactly effusive when it comes to receiving gifts, but I'm sure she's thrilled.
I bet she is.
I wonder if before you go, you'd mind checking the amount of water in the pool. It rained fairly heavily overnight. I wouldn't want it flooding.
Done.
Thank you. Would have done some good, I think. Soul of generosity to a dear old lady.
Didn't know you were going to suggest a blank cheque.
Oh, don't worry. I'll give it back to you.
I hope you don't mind going on the bike, Rosie. We could take one of the cars if you like.
Not as much fun, though.
Okay, if you're going, so am I.
Glad I don't know too many people in the city.
Well, how'd you go?
Oh, it's lovely. You know how to pick them.
You picked it, Rosie.
Oh, no, but you advised me.
Oh, if you want someone to thank, you should thank Wayne and Mrs. Hamilton. They must think a lot of you.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a present from Wayne. She hasn't got a generous bone in her body. Well, I better park it properly or she'll be complaining.
Good choice. Heard what she said. Don't worry, it happens all the time. She's never liked me.
Oh, why's that?
Rosie is related to Gordon's first wife, you see. So as far as she's concerned, I'm the Scarlet Woman.
Can't be easy.
I've learned to live with it. Thank you very much for taking her in, by the way. I was amazed when she agreed to ride pillion with you.
Just quietly, so was I. But it was a pleasure.
Nevertheless, I think you deserve the afternoon off.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Hey, it's all your fault.
What is? What do you mean?
The client this morning made a terrific impression, and all because of your coaching last night.
Then I'm very pleased. Glad we didn't stick to the rules.
Rules? What rules?
You know, talk about Ramberg.
Oh, yes, well, now I am. You going somewhere?
Lunch. Well, I want to buy a few things as well.
How about a drink tonight, then? Say thanks.
Yeah, sure.
I reckon Hal should be happy with me after this morning.
You never know.
Paul, could you come over here for a tick?
What's the problem?
Just wonder what you thought about the sound of this. You being so good with mechanical things.
Oh, I'm not all that good.
From what I said. Lucky half your knowledge.
Should watch where you leave it.
Sorry.
But he's rude. Typical of him.
You think so?
Yeah, he's the same at work. Always high-handed with employees who aren't on the executive level.
Funny, I always thought he was rather polite.
It's only because you're so easy to get along with. He's basically a terrible snob. Couldn't handle coming to live here. The money is, you know.
I think he's a nice guy.
Oh, well, at home, I suppose he's not too bad. It's mainly at the office where he shows his true colours.
Sounds fine to me.
But?
Can't. Sounds fine.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for your help.
Beryl?
I don't think there's any more to say.
I do. And I want you to hear me out. There's not much I can say. But what it boils down to is that I love you. And I'm just as upset about the baby as you are. I'd never have gone to Sydney if I'd known how bad you were. I want you to come home with me. Now.
I don't want to.
Oh, Beryl. Beryl, you've made your point. Come home where you belong.
I don't think I do belong there, David. Not only am I leaving you, I'm leaving Melbourne too. I'm going to Sydney to live with Fiona, make a new life for myself.
You seem to spend most of your time looking gloomy these days.
Didn't sleep very well.
Oh?
Got some more bad news last night.
From Melbourne?
It's worse than I thought. Mum's coming to Sydney.
Some fresh tea, Rosie, thank you.
Right.
I'm very sorry to hear it, darling.
I don't understand her.
It must be a very difficult step for her to take, leaving the home she's lived in all these years. She's not getting any younger.
And away from Kevin and Lynn.
Oh, I wish there was something I could do, but anything I said would be taken in the wrong way as usual.
I don't know what I can do about it. Nothing much I can do, I suppose. She's made up her mind and we just have to go along with it.
It must be very upsetting for the whole family.
Yes. Oh, I'd better get to work. Not that I feel like it.
Mustn't let anything interfere with your work.
I know.
I don't know how many times I've told you to use the dishwasher.
If I've got the time, I like to do them by hand.
Well, that's just the point. You didn't have the time.
I'll finish them.
It looks like I'm not quite over the wedding yet.
You don't have to explain to me.
No, of course not. It's just that Rosie's at that stubborn age.
I've got some things to plant. Hi, Rosie. Come to supervise me, have you?
Mrs. Hamilton wants to see you.
Tree comes first. Want to lend me a hand?
What?
Okay. In she goes. Now, you hold it steady while I spread out the roots. Finish the dishes. I heard you getting it in the neck.
Water off a duck's back. That's just her.
How about Wayne? What's he normally like with people who work around here?
Wayne's a nice boy. Takes after her a bit much in that department, though.
Uh-huh.
He's good with me. Used to speak terribly to some of the men down at Woombai.
Yeah.
Big fellas they were. I think if he hadn't been on crutches, they probably would have punched him.
I see.
Things are a lot better since he started working for that Mr. Mason.
Uh-huh.
I think he's much more contented with his life. Mind you, he's a hard boss. Hal Mason. I take the day of the wedding. Poor Di Miller couldn't get away from work even then.
How do you mean?
Well, he turned up and grabbed her away to do some reports or other. Oh, you'd have to like your job to put up with it.
Hal Mason was here. At the wedding?
Oh, he was only here for about 10 minutes towards the end. You must have seen him.
No, I didn't.
Oh, he wasn't here for long. Only popped in for a glass of champagne.
Oh. Look, Rosie, would you mind sprinkling some water on it? I'll go and see what Mrs. Hamilton wants.
Of course.
Ah, there you are. Thanks for coming in. Hope I didn't interrupt anything important.
Still on the planting.
Well, what I have in mind should keep your hands out of dirt for a while.
Oh?
Yes. It's obvious you enjoyed driving the car. So I thought that for, say, 4 days of the week you could act as chauffeur. Then when you feel like a break in the garden, you can have it. There'd be an increase in salary, of course.
Was that meant to impress me too? You've known who I am since the wedding, haven't you? What the hell are you playing at, Mrs. Hamilton?
Love is very strange. It can come and go.
It can happen when you are young or old.
When it comes from nowhere. When it comes, it changes your